Alright, boys, and of course, girls, whoever's watching, welcome back, as we are going to be hopping on into the second map of the final best of three tonight, as Furia and Complexity are going to be taking this battle on over to Mirage now. It was 16-13 back on Nuke in favor of Furia in the end, and of course, Mirage now being the map choice of Complexity. That actually gives Furia to start off on over on that, gets the opportunity, rather, to start off on that CT side. Certainly a good position for them to be in. Caserato actually getting aggressive, and Biaps is able to drop Shazam to go ahead and actually start this round off. So a man advantage early on being found, but look at this from Def. They have no idea that he's been able to creep in towards the CT spawn already. Takes down Art and Kitchen, but still another couple players on B to deal with. I mean, Vinny right now should have an easy refrag, and indeed he does. The man advantage being reclaimed for Furia for the moment, and as we can see, Complexity, they still want to take this one over towards B. And Stanislaw actually coming in on the Glock quickly, pulls back a frag, leaving, of course, Vinny now on that B-bomb site actually alone to try and delay this a little bit, at least allow for his teammates to rotate in, as he does end up actually dropping Stanislaw, who had been previously tagged up, looking to see if he can find any more angles. Should eventually go down to Sick, which he does. But of course that bomb actually dropped in towards the bench right now, makes it a bit more difficult. But if they can just find the frags like that, if Sick can just come in and clean up and make it 3 headshots in the round on the Glock, then it's not a big deal. That is going to be Complexity starting it off with the pistol round there on Mirage. But again, that doesn't really mean anything at this point. From what we've seen so far in this qualifier, the pistol round, if you take that, like maybe 70% of the time you're going to lose against the Force Buy in the second. But I mean, probably not going to happen considering Furia haven't invested much into this. They've got 2 Zeuses, that's it. Did I just assume your species? I did. Apologies. He should have a pretty easy kill here. Actually does catch that aggression on ramp. So, as I said, full eco coming through apart from those 2 Zeuses being invested into for Furia. We don't really expect them to be able to get very much done in this round. I mean, maybe the Zeuses can find the frag each, steal away a weapon, give an opportunity for them to find a few more frags even. At that point then, that would be 5. 2 plus a few is 3, that'd be 5, so that'd win them the round. I mean, there is certainly an opportunity for at least some damage to be put in. That's what I'm kind of going for at the moment. Complexity now just bringing this back over towards A. They already have the connector control as well. Sick being able to creep up into that position. He doesn't have a smoke to block off short, but I mean, that won't really be an issue considering Art only has the Zeus, and even then he's not actually peeking right now. He's just hoping that someone's going to creep up and give him the opportunity at close range to make that Zeus work efficiently. But here we go. Complexity going out onto this A-bomb site now. They should have a pretty easy time indeed against those USPs at long range, and they actually just realized that the bomb site's completely open for the taking. You can see even though there was a player initially in CT spawn, I believe it was Yuri, he just fell back off, chilling as he waited for his teammates to rotate around. There we go, though. Eventually, the Zeus actually does end up working out. Caserato able to go ahead and steal himself away a weapon. Unfortunately, it is only a UMP. One of those rifles would have been much, much better, but, I mean, it's better than nothing. He is able to back off towards the B apartments, and I mean, they are buying in the next round, so I don't know how worthwhile saving over this UMP is. I suppose he could maybe give it over to a teammate for them to get a bit more utility. But especially for Caserato, you want to see him on a rifle, ideally, if he's coming into that first gun round. Since he is such a strong player, definitely one of the best up-and-coming talents from Brazil. Dublin, Zimbabwe. You're still finding new countries to go ahead and throw in there. I mean, you'll run out eventually. 2-0 for Complexity to start it off. Furia now coming onto the buy. Caserato actually does end up keeping himself the UMP. Gives himself full utility with it. A fuse kit as well. Keeps some money in the bank. And have the nice opening frag actually coming in for Furia. As Yuri spamming through the smoke is able to drop Shazam and Art right now. I don't know if they know he's aggressive and underpass. He can actually take down Sick, who is completely unaware. And although it will be traded by Def, it's still a man advantage in play for Furia. And with also that damage that's come through onto the British player, it's certainly not ideal for Complexity. This could be Furia in a good position to try and actually go ahead and take this open and gun round. There is enough money in the reserve for another buy to come out in the next round for the majority of the Complexity players, but it wouldn't be ideal. I do want to see Def trying to actually give that AK over to Ricky as well once they get towards the ramp. Let the 2 players that are healthy work with those rifles. It would be certainly ideal. Def going to go ahead and retrieve that bomb now, and with a minute remaining, the A-bomb site is certainly going to be what they aim to try and take control of. Already 2 players though in position. It's, as you can see, Able J alongside Yuri in towards the CT spawn. And they are just playing this retake setup at the moment. They have a defuse kit if it's needed. So let's see. Spotting the info already that there is at least 1 player working his way out of ramp. Molotov down towards the CT spawn. Going to stop anyone from peeking in for the moment. So Complexity with that are able to begin to push forward and kind of put their focus elsewhere. Bomb is indeed going to go down most likely. But he is actually going to be spotted from short right now. Stanislaw gets dropped. As actually it wasn't Death to go down. He was the low HP player as well that was planting the bomb, so that was certainly dangerous. But again, only a single bullet needed to finish him off. Comes in from the AUG of Yuri. And that leaves Ricky now as the last man standing. I mean, 2 players low for the CT side. It's winnable. But he's now been smoked off in connector as well. So it gets a little bit more difficult. The problem is, I suppose, that the kit isn't actually nearby for that CT side. It's over on short right now in the hands of Caserato. But, I mean, as the defuse is coming through, the full 10 seconds pretty much done already. As that is indeed the case, the defuse going to be successful for Furia. They keep 2 players alive. Ricky will be able to keep his AK in play, though, which is actually a pretty big find, considering now he can drop over to Shazam. Can actually give an op as well. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we do see that coming out. On the other hand, though, if you wanted, he could also buy up 2 AKs so that they wouldn't have any weaker weapons. You can see a UMP for Stanislaw, I believe. He actually gets the AK, Stanislaw does. It's Ricky who takes the UMP, okay. But yeah, it could have been spread out a little bit better. But, I mean, the op, as I said, for Shazam, certainly a big find. Perhaps a bit more confident in the op rather than just going for the 5 full AKs. But here we go. Arc trying to get aggressive through underpass. Actually gets taken down early on. As Complexity comes straight back into this one. Swinging indeed. A man advantage of 5 versus 4. And of course with the weapons also in their favor, Furia actually put in a pretty difficult position right now. We do end up seeing Sick getting 1 as they push forward on B. Of course, Complexity already favored as long as they can just keep those trades coming in. It's not really too big of a deal. Yuri, though, actually already rotated over towards B alongside Vinny on short. So, I mean, this could get dangerous. Yuri actually does end up dropping that player on default. That kind of scares away the rest of Complexity now as they've changed their mind. And they've mostly done so because, of course, Ricky haven't actually pushed out on the A. He realizes that the A-bomb site is open for the taking, knowing they're currently to defend. Taking their time as they do wrap around through the spawn. It is, of course, a very long rotate. And Able J making his way in through CT, I believe, should have been heard. But no, maybe not, because Ricky not being cautious of it. Able J, on the other hand, was aware that it was potentially a position, rather, that they could have had a player creep towards. So we will end up finding 1 to put it into, again, a man advantage for Furia coming into the retake. Shazam and Stanislaw now left in the 2v3. They are looking to try and get that CT control. The bomb planted for this position. It will allow for them then to try and play the time on the bomb. But Able J almost lines them up, actually. Gets 1 before being returned on by Shazam, who goes ahead and takes down a second. And it seems like he has an idea that Yuri's coming in from the spawn, ready on the op. Shazam comes through with a quick triple kill to go ahead and actually allow for Complexity to continue on with the lead. And, of course, completely destroy the economy of Furia in the meantime. They're now looking at an eco. I don't expect them to really buy much up, maybe a couple of upgraded pistols, but this should be a 4-1 lead for Complexity before the guns come back out. I'm going to cast 995 more rounds. Yes, I am. No, I hope it doesn't go 995 rounds. ESEA servers, which is what this qualifier is played on, do show 999 rounds as the total. That's not the case. It's normal CS, first to 16. The whole shabam, you know, just the standard CS stuff. Ooh, Yuri, only having the CZ. He does have Kevlar, but already dropped down quite low as he unfortunately didn't realize that there was a player already creeped up towards short. But yeah, for now, Complexity actually giving up that mid control. I believe they've left Sick in position. He's actually even making his way back out through underpass as well. So realizing that they are up against that weaker by maybe just looking to try and work together. As they make their way towards what looks to be an A split. Right now, Able J quite aggressive up close on ramp. Yuri on the default position. But with only the pistols, it is going to be a very difficult hold. Right now, Sick just smoking off the connector. He'll be able to get himself in towards that position quite easily, of course. He'll be allowing for his teammates most likely to take the first point of contact then, so he can potentially get the backstab or the flank rather on towards those players playing towards the steps, etc. But there we go. Speaking of the player at the steps, it's Vinny to actually find a very quick headshot. He's also being cautious to the connector currently, so as Sick comes up, he quickly gets dropped. Yuri in the meantime getting one on the CZ and a second as well. An AK being upgraded too. But Yuri didn't even need to bring it into play rather, because it was Vinny on his own AK that went ahead and finished it off. Furia on an eco, they managed to come in and steal away a round. And that is now actually Complexity, who are looking at a very weak investment. They do manage to pull out an AK as Ricky drops it over to Stanislaw. But elsewhere, it's going to be pistols, a bit of Kevlar, small bit of utility. This should be Furia being able to bring it 3-3. And if the force buy, of course, doesn't go in favor of Complexity, they are then looking at an eco, so that would likely be Furia actually going ahead and claiming the lead. Oh, that nade messes up Stanislaw a little bit, down to 56. Every bit of damage, of course, does add up in the long run, especially then as Complexity will be moving towards the bomb site. Once you're tagged up, it becomes a little bit more difficult. A couple bullets and you're already down. But again, grouping up outside A right now, Complexity. They want to see if they can find the openings and push forward onto this bomb site, not really looking to use utility, of course, since they didn't have very much at all, apart from a couple of flashes. Trying to play on contact. They do eventually find one frag as Sick picks up that AK, but still a man advantage. Make that now a two-man advantage in play for Furia, and it's been extended even further. Sick left on low HP, trying to creep out of Palace. He found 2 frags in that round, but that was all that was allowed. Unfortunately, it is going to be 3-3, and Eco now, as I said, going to have to come through for Complexity. And with that, they're just going to have to go ahead and actually give up the lead to Furia. I mean, we do see a couple of flashes at least coming out for Sick. 2 flashes, I mean, that's normally going to be an investment that kind of shows that they do want to try and see if they can get the bomb down. But considering they're going with 3 players over towards middle, I don't think that's the case. I was going to say maybe they try and pile out Palace, but they also didn't have a smoke for the steps, so it's not going to be the case. Stanislaw, how has he got up close on CT already? I mean, I don't know how he got there, but either way, it doesn't really manage to give him too much, unfortunately, because he does quickly get dropped. The amount of ecos that I have seen being won today is just next level, guys. It's been pretty ridiculous. But yeah, right now, Glocks across the board, barred a single P250 for Sick to work with. Can anything be found right now? Maybe if he just taps away, he likely would have found that frag, and does eventually do so. A second then comes in onto Ricky as he drops the bomb in mid, and makes it almost impossible for Def to really find anything else at this point, because if he steps back out into the open, he should be spotted. He's trying to hide in the corner, but Vinny actually just takes the peek and spots him out. And of course finishes it off there with that triple kill coming through. So 4-3 for Furia. They do indeed get the lead as we expected, but the buy going to be coming back out for Complexity. They've already got 3 rounds on the T side. It's early on. It's a decent foundation for them to try and build off of. They just want to try and grind it out a little bit more. See if they can bring it up to around 6 or so. That's where you begin to feel happy with how it's gone. Anything past that, then it puts you in an even better position, of course. But look at this. We might be seeing a really quick play coming through from Complexity. Up in the pace a little bit. Art ends up getting caught off guard. Able J still alive on the bomb site, but he's only able to find 1 frag before going down. So the exchanges, the trades early on will favour Complexity as the bomb gets planted. And a flash towards CT. It's actually a smoke rather that goes down. I was going to say that could be dangerous for Stanislaw, but it also could have given him the opportunity for 2 frags. But it doesn't matter, because they're now actually the only 2 players that remain. With that, actually, Vinny and Caserato instantly deciding that they do just have to go ahead and back off and try and save. Vinny gets 1, but they're still being hunted down, and Stanislaw, some nice spray control comes through. They weren't quite lined up, but they were at least on the same position. You just had to go up and down a little bit with the spray. They were pretty close to each other. No weapons being carried over for Furia. They will be able to reinvest into this, but I mean, it's not perfect, as you can see. I believe Caserato will be left on a weaker weapon. It's an MP9 that actually was on the ground for him. He spent $7,200 in this round and ended up with an MP9. Must have dropped the op over to Art, of course. But yeah, giving Caserato an MP9 isn't ideal, since he is one of the stronger players on that Furia lineup. But here we go. Another round coming through. Can Furia return it? Complexity, of course, As I said, looking to just try and grind out these rounds on this T side, and if they manage to actually take this one, then FURIA are definitely looking at an eco, and that'd be complexity, probably finding 6 already. Hello, Gallo. How's Dublin today? Is that what you said one? It's, I don't know. I kind of slept pretty long because I was also casting late last night. And then I just chilled for a little while. I mean, it was raining, I believe, earlier on. So if you're asking, like, weather, etc. Not great. Life of a caster isn't an easy one. I mean, it's pretty long. Isn't it like 4 AM in Dublin? Yeah, it's getting close to 4 AM. It's 3:40. So not quite. If it goes to 3 maps, that's when it'll be going extremely late, and we could be going up till about 5. But yeah, right now, 5-on-2 in favor of FURIA. They have been able to shut down this push so far quite successfully. Eventually, Sick able to return one as he comes from the apartments, but it's a single frag before he's returned on. Def going to go ahead and sadly get dropped as he doesn't expect the flank from behind. It's Yuri to go ahead and finish off that round. 5-4, FURIA go ahead and once again reclaim the lead, trading back around quickly. And with that, we do see Complexity having to go for an eco. 2 smokes, 2 nades coming through, 3 P250s, a dig, and a CZ. So there's an opportunity for them to try and get some damage in at the very least. Try and drop some of these weapons, and again, just keep FURIA in a position where their economy actually remains modest and doesn't really give them enough for the full buys to come through if they do end up losing a round. Am I from Northern Ireland? No, I'm from Dublin. Well, yeah, this should be a relatively easy round for FURIA at this point. I mean, Complexity have actually got a boost up in the window, so that could potentially actually catch these players off guard. I mean, Yuri's still finding frags either way. Probably would have taken down Shazam in the connector for a third for himself. But I don't mean a boop, I just suck at pronouncing that word. It was 3 frags I meant to say, which he does eventually get as he takes down Def. And it's 6-4 with that. I mean, not too bad. It is going to be, of course, the flawless round from FURIA. That's good for them to begin to actually build up a little bit of money, which they hadn't done so far. As Complexity, as they come back onto the buy, they realize that this is an important round, so they're going to actually go ahead and call in the tactical pause. Try and find out what they can do to switch things up a little bit. Right now, Six sitting at 11-7 on that scoreboard, and everyone else is trailing quite far behind, to say the least. To the caster, can we use the config that ESL uses to cast? I'm a beginner, and this would really help. Well, I don't get like given a config or anything. I actually made my own config. But if you need like help with what commands for like, I don't know, stuff such as being able to keep the game focused when it's not full, when it's not in full screen, when it's not actually the game you're tapped into, etc. for streaming, then I can help you with that sort of stuff. I can help you with the commands for getting rid of chat. But there's no really set config, and of course also making the radar a little bit bigger, and also the circles can help. The dots, of course, on it makes it a little bit easier to see those numbers when you're casting. But speaking of the numbers, they have actually been going down a little bit in terms of who's currently alive. It was a 1-for-1 trade. We did see Yuri going down immediately, but eventually Art on the upper turns went on Shazam, and it looks like he may be given a couple more opportunities towards the underpass right now. But as I say, that nice flash goes through. It's instead Vinny who gets the opportunity to go ahead and take a frag, which he doesn't hesitate on. Sick goes down, and with that, so do Complexity into a man disadvantage. Dublin is south of Libya. Totally. Is that Dean Brown? It is indeed. Oh, Art going for a little bit of a wild flick right there. Trying to actually get the shot in, judging off the trajectory of those tracers, of course. But Def going forward in connector. Just an easy frag for Vinny. He's been just moving around from position to position. He was such a big player back on Nuke for FURIA, and again, he's getting it done when it's needed. 3 in that round. Currently sitting with, let me double check how many on the scoreboard, 17. This man's an absolute monster. As Ricky makes his way back around towards the B apartments. Of course, that is just in an attempt to save. Because as you can hear that 10-second music, it does show us that the round is inevitably going to end in favor of FURIA. 7-4, beginning to extend this lead a little bit further. And of course, a reminder for everyone, we did see FURIA taking that opening map 16-13 back on Nuke. So if they manage to get the victory here on Mirage, that will be a swift 2-0. And a reminder, of course, that this is the lower bracket final, so the loser's eliminated. If Complexity aren't able to pick up the win here on Mirage and then take it on to Inferno, then they will be eliminated. So, I mean, going down 7-4, potentially 8-4 early on, it's not ideal. But as I said, a few rounds back, it is still a position for Complexity where they already have the 4 rounds on the T side. They have still quite a bit of room to try and build on it a little bit more. If they can even just bring it up to 6, then they can be pretty happy with how it's gone. Let's see, another free frag pretty much for Vinny. Similar to in that previous round, able to find it onto Stanislaus. He's creeping under the window. Sick on the dig. Let's see if he's going to be able to pull anything in favor of Complexity as he almost catches Yuri off guard. He does actually connect one shot, but AbleJ jumping up on top of the ticket booth. Will actually be able to take down one quick frag. Art then on the up gets a couple before he eventually is traded back by Shazam. And then a 1-on-3 for Shazam. We've seen him win one already. But this one's a little bit more difficult as, of course, the bomb isn't planted. He doesn't have control of the bomb site either, and right now he is just going to be falling back off. Positive is 50 seconds remaining, so he can pretty much take this anywhere on the map at that point. Because of it, FURIA, I guess, do have to begin to rotate back. They can't all stick together. I mean, they could. They could all just stay towards one bomb site and then set up for a retake if it goes elsewhere. But, of course, you do see, actually, Caserato making his way through underpass, which is a good position to be in because he can cut off the BAP's rotation pretty quickly if it is brought in that direction, and also can rotate back over relatively quickly. There we go. Shazam making his way down towards Connector. AbleJ on default, he could potentially get caught off guard. You can see Vinny right now just in towards jungle, but he steps out. It's called over as AbleJ, he shifts his attention and takes that final frag. To 4. Of course, that wasn't a buy from Complexity, though, for them in that previous round, so they're able to actually pull out a buy right now. I believe they did have some investment, though. I think it was Ricky who had actually bought up and up, so unfortunately, he is actually going to be left with no helmet in this round, no utility either to actually back up the AK. So it could be a little bit stronger for Complexity, but it's not bad. I mean, they have the basics, the bare necessities. Simple bare necessities. Yuri, a little bit of damage spamming in through mid early on. Stanislaw dropped to 52. It's not too substantial, but I mean, it certainly could be impactful later on in the round. But the question is, as we see Complexity push forward on B now, what is going to happen? We do end up seeing one frag being taken by Ricky to actually open it up. It's Vinny who gets dropped early on. Caserato then being finished off as he was already low HP. And with that, all of the frags just go in favor of Complexity. AbleJ left over on A. I feel like at this point he's just going to go ahead and try and save, but actually pushing down Connector ends up getting dropped. Reinvestment should easily come true. Vinny is going to need a weapon given over to him, but that should be an easy enough solution as AbleJ does have 9,000 in the bank, so he should be able to drop an M4 or an AUG over. Hagrid's the caster. Did I just get called Hagrid? That's a new one. Art already opening this one up, though. Vinny able to go ahead and take down Stanislaw as well. It was once again Yuri who actually got dropped early on towards middle, but as we see the commitment towards A now, Sam able to go ahead and drop AbleJ. It's returned, though, from Vinny. Catches Ricky trying to take himself up on top of that ticket booth to try and actually find another frag, which I guess wasn't really needed. They had the 3v3. He should have just stayed in the spawn and used that position that he had to try and play time on the bomb later on in the round. So instead, it gets a little bit more difficult now. With 3-on-2 retake coming through from FURIA, let's see if they're going to be successful. They do have a couple of flashes and a smoke. The fuse kits as well in play as Shazam eventually gets dropped. But they don't expect that final player to be on towards Tetris initially either. Sick on low HP. Does get one more before being traded back out. Caserato going to be able to go ahead and take a 9th round for FURIA. Complexity at least find the bomb plant, which gives them another full buy into this round, but At this point, FURIA just looking really good here on the CT side of Mirage. They have the potential to try and actually bring it up to double digits. Although only surviving with one player does mean that their buy is a little bit limited. But a pause, again, is going to come true. And this time it's actually a tactical timeout from FURIA. Which, as I said, is probably because they actually do have a kind of limited by themselves. A UMP coming out. Yuri probably going to have a weaker weapon as well. I'm not sure if there's actually one already on the floor. He may have been dropped one. No, not from what I can see. So I'm not too sure how this is going to happen. He does have enough money to still buy up a pistol for himself. At the very least, could pull out a deagle. But they are discussing right now what exactly is going to happen. And actually, AbleJ ends up dropping that AUG over to Yuri. So maybe he'll be the one to take the weaker weapon instead. The caster, if you can help me with the commands, or so that would mean a lot to me. Yeah, just throw me a message on Twitter, bro, and I'll send you over all the commands that are important from my my casting config. Well, it's my auto exec, so that's why I'm not going to send the entire thing over, because it will then just give you all of my settings. But there we go. AbleJ right now able to find 2 quick kills over towards the ramp. Complexity, they wanted to go for a very quick play in this round, and it didn't start off too well, but they have been able to pull it back somewhat. Def right now at triple could have a free kill on towards Vinny, which he does. Takes a little bit longer to find than was really necessary, but gets it in the end either way. That leaves Caserato in a 1-on-2 as he flanks around and looks to try and come in from Palace. Is this going to be expected? He has a defuse kit to work with, but as we said before, the weaker weapon as well. It's only a UMP, unfortunately, so it's not the rifle. Taking that longer range fight against Def could be a little bit difficult, but Def goes down immediately. Is he going to expect Shazam to be under Palace right now, though? I'm not too sure if he will. The deagle in the hands of Shazam is ready for it. Spamming through, already connecting 2 shots to the body. Leaves Caserato on 7 HP, which is an easy finish indeed. Complexity end up coming out with 6 rounds at the halftime. And they can be pretty happy with that. As I said, 6 is kind of the position where we're going into that second half. If you find 6 on the D side, rather, you can be like, okay, we're in a pretty decent position. Let's win the pistol, then we're in a great spot. If we lose it, I mean, it's not perfect, but we can still fight back in as long as we get the first gun round. So, let's see. FURIA, though, this is, of course, them looking now to try and get off to a solid start on the T side so that they can try and just finish this one out 2-0. I'm boring, apparently. Apologies. I can't actually be too loud right now, so if I'm not hyped enough, I do apologize. It's roughly 4 in the morning and there is people sleeping, so I'm being as loud as I can. Probably louder than I should be, to be honest. At least for the sake of my family, but they'll have to survive. They know this is my job. Give us back Irish caster. I am Irish caster. What the hell? There we go, though. Looking like FURIA just coming in towards mid immediately. Are able to actually find that control, and they want to go for a quick A split. A player towards Palace, a player towards ramp. Yuri and AbleJ actually able to just immediately overwhelm the 2 players who are trying to hold down connector. Shazam and Def being dropped early on. That allows for the bomb now to be planted. A 5-on-3 favouring FURIA. As the current 3 remaining players for Complexity are left in a very tough spot. They don't have a defuse kit to make this happen either. The bomb already somewhat ticking away in a 2-on-5 now. Make that a 1-on-5. Eventually Ricky returns 1, but he's pinned in window at the moment, so I don't think he's really going to be allowed to get too much done. At the moment, Art just having a little bit of fun with him as well. Ricky jumps out the window and takes him down. But I mean, the round, of course, not winnable. As I said, with 6 rounds having gone in favor of Complexity on their T side, it's not too bad that they lose the pistol. It's certainly not ideal, but I mean, they might take the eco here, maybe buy up in the next round. That'll be 11-6 before the guns come out, and that is actually what they're going to go for. I like that. I was thinking maybe they were going to go for the force buy. I mean, if they manage to make the force buy work, they put themselves in the best position possible, but it isn't always guaranteed, of course. But here we go. The eco coming through. Ricky has the Kevlar in play alongside a Zeus. Of all things. Actually, only has a Glock as well. He was able to save that one over, of course, alongside the Kevlar. So, surprisingly bought up a Zeus. I mean, a P250 probably would have made a bit more sense alongside the Kevlar, but who knows? Maybe he's going to be able to find a kill, snatch away maybe even an AK if he's lucky enough. That could give them a rifle then to try and work with to see if they can maybe even pull this round in their favor. But here we go. FURIA been able to find connector control, pushing in towards jungle. I was going to say Able J should have a nice little spray down on the two players coming from kitchen, but he was actually only able to get one. Shouldn't affect the outcome of the round, of course, though. Trade coming back from Ricky on that Glock, so we never should have judged him. Deathfable will actually get one, as he was just hiding in that back corner on the A-bomb site the entire time. My very tired brain at this point did actually manage to miss that fact. But still, looks like we will see FURIA taken on 11. But I mean, considering complexity but pretty much no investment into this round apart from the Zeus, they can be pretty happy with finding 3 frags out of it. I mean, dropping, I believe it was just SMGs, the 2 rifles that he's going to be carried over for FURIA, but it does mean that 3 players have to reinvest now coming into this next round. And as the buy is going to come out from complexity, it means they have an opportunity to put FURIA onto that eco early on, if they can just put this first gun round in their favor. Why did he get a Glock at NACS? That was the weapon he saved over, as you would expect. But I mean, yeah, it was a little bit confusing that he didn't upgrade it. I mean, he still got a frag with us. Maybe you can't judge him too much. Shazam, some good damage to start off in this opening gun round as he just spams in through that smoke. FURIA right now not really doing anything too special. It's a standard default looking to try and come true. They leave a player pressuring on ramp, 1 pressuring in the B apartments. It's the 2 extremities being covered as they look for some mid control. Of course, though, with Art having been taken down low early on, he decides to fall back off. Doesn't really want to risk being dropped early on, so they've kind of slowed it down. They haven't really taken too much mid control, although they have a player at the top of mid and 1 in underpass. I mean, as you can see, the CTs are facing out through connector, short, and window, so it's not a position that they do control at the moment on that T side, and it ends up going in favor of Ricky with the opening frag being found. With that now, FURIA feeling a little bit pressured, I suppose, to actually make the commitment come true. Will try and take it on towards the A-bomb site. As the damage is just still being brought in favor of complexity quite heavily. FURIA, they will want to at least try and find that bomb plant. Even with it, though, they won't be looking at a buy in this next round. So if complexity find this opening gun round on the second half, as I said, they put themselves in a great position to get likely a free round off the back of it. As we see the remaining 3 now for FURIA, all being tagged up already. It shouldn't be too much of a struggle for complexity, but who knows? Able J, what is that second frag? Def had already been tagged up, so it was only 1 shot to the body. I thought it was a headshot for a moment. But a bit of damage at least being found from that T side, if nothing else. Looks like it will be nothing else, though, because it's only Art now who remains. I mean, at this point, he should just be going on the default and getting that bomb plant, and that's exactly what he goes for. Plus 800 per player. He spins wildly. So that if anyone was trying to spam him while he was defusing, maybe they'd miss. But of course, that didn't happen. That is going to be a 7th round now on the board for complexity. But as I said, a nice find with the bomb plant at least coming true. No worries, 60s. Glad you're enjoying, man. Hydra, you can type !caster if you want to find that out. Mine is the second one. The first one is Mitch. I mean, he's a pretty nice guy if you want to follow him as well. He was covering the Asian games this morning. He is my co-caster most of the time as well when we're covering tournaments together, which we usually do. I don't solo cast very often anymore, so I am actually a little bit rusty at it. Right now coming in towards B with a quick push from the T side. Their goal being to try and get that bomb down with a couple of frags. They did manage a quick trade at least on towards Stanislaw, and then actually were able to take down Sick pretty quickly as well. So although it is still a man advantage for complexity, Ricky barely hanging on to life rather, only 2 HP in play. This is a round that FURIA do have an opportunity in. Art looking for the bomb plant at the very least, I suppose. Although for now, he isn't really going to be trying to put that one down. He's seeing if he can find another frag. I think he thinks Ricky's still pushed up on the pillar. Of course, that isn't the case. And, oh, that's unfortunate. The timing just as he looked away. 8-11. Now, 3 rounds in the difference. But this is, of course, going to be FURIA now coming back onto the full buy. Not going to have an op in play, but they should have the rifles and a pretty decent amount of utility to back them up. FURIA. Let's see. Art right now actually all alone on mid. He's just trying to make his way up short, selling a bit of a fake maybe that it could potentially be the B split. But he ends up dropping down, getting dropped. It was actually Art who found that opening frag at first, but it's Vinny who gets dropped in towards Palace by the Oppa Shazam. Def gets one as well before he's returned on, so it is just even trades in the early days of this round. Or in the early moments, I suppose. 3 versus 3. Right now, FURIA, although having looked to try and bring it on towards A early on, have pretty much completely cancelled that plan. Art can actually walk out onto B for free right now. Stanislaw being the closest player, he's actually rotating in now through the kitchen, but he's not going to realize that there's already a player pushed out. He is, I believe, at least being cautious of it, and actually does end up coming out on top of that fight right there. So now it's left onto Yuri and Abel J in the 2v3. They should at least find this trade quite easily, but it's not going to happen as the smoke goes down. Stanislaw is allowed to fall off in the kitchen to at least leave Complexity with the man advantage to try and come into that retake whip. But just as the bomb goes down, we also see Abel J being able to be effective. A headshot in towards the apartments stops that flank from coming through from Complexity, and now it's both players coming from the door. Yuri ready on the angle, low HP on one already. The op from Shazam actually will be able to open it up. I was going to say it was going to be pretty difficult to move forward with, but it's all on Abel J now. He should have the first kill quite easily. Stanislaw goes down, and it's all on Shazam. The bomb's ticking away. He's trying to tap it to bait the peek out, but Abel had already positioned himself well to just go ahead and spam through the smoke. 12-8. It's FURIA going ahead and snatching away around as they lead by 4. They're looking for the 2-0 as Complexity call a pause in. They are trying to find out what they can do right now. Of course, the problem is that they are looking at a double eco for Def and Stanislaw. Please cast a major. That's not really my decision, unfortunately, but I would love to, of course. Oh, what's going on, Mitch? God damn it, Steven. I am not Mitch. I am like twice his height, first of all. I don't look as homeless. I can look pretty homeless. I don't look homeless right now, but I do look pretty homeless in my Twitter picture, not gonna lie. I was also a little chubby. Still am, but not quite as much. Isn't Dublin on the East Coast? It is on the East Coast of Ireland, yeah, but it doesn't really make a difference because the same time zones in Ireland. It's such a small country. I could be in Galway, which is on the west coast of Ireland. It would probably be a lot colder. So I'm kind of glad to be here. But yeah, right now FURIA walking out on the B. It is a bit of a stack coming in elsewhere. Ricky actually, I believe, sitting over towards short, is able to find one. But as we can see, Vinny getting aggressive in kitchen, finds some control as well as a trade. And although there is a couple players tagged up, especially with Caserato dropped down to very low HP. It is still a somewhat winnable position for Complexity, but without the defuse kit, I mean, I don't think they really want to go for it right now. They have, of course, fully invested into this round, which is a bit of an issue, as FURIA are about to extend that lead up to 13-8. Off the back of that, maybe 14-8 if we do see Complexity go for it. But I mean, even with these pistols and stuff being saved over right now, it's not amazing, but they actually have a chance to steal away some weapons. Stanislaw going to find one. They have a couple players trapped in the apartments. Because of that, the bomb is actually going to take down the Opper. And of course, Abel J even being taken low, ends up dealing with it. Can he get the op? Just about does. I mean, that was a little bit closer than we were hoping for. The E key must not have been working perfectly. I'm not actually twice his height, but we like to make fun of him because he is really short. He's 5'7", so I mean, he's not super short. But he likes to pretend he's above average height at 5'7" when he's not. Nothing wrong with him being short, but it's just hilarious how he reacts. We were at an event in Bucharest, over in Romania, of course, and it was myself, him, and Jason Kaplan on the desk. And of course, I'm 6'4". Jason Kaplan is 6'6" because that dude is literally a tower. So, of course, 5'7" Mitch looked a little bit out of place on the desk, so we ended up having to get a box for him to stand on. The first box was actually too big, so that when he was standing on it, like, his crotch and his waist were above the analyst desk. So, honestly, obviously, that wasn't ideal. It didn't look very natural. So we ended up having to get him a slightly smaller box in the end, but Still, he was nowhere near the same height as myself and Jason, so we like to just mess with him a little bit because he kept saying that entire time that he's average height, and we googled it to prove he wasn't, obviously. But yeah, this round anyway, we didn't really expect a lot to come true for Complexity. Apologies if I'm going off on rants a little bit. I just realized that I was right there. But of course, with just the AUG in play for Ricky, a Mach 10 for Sick, Shazam with a Zeus, a couple of pistols. Not much hope for Complexity in this retake. It is going to be Furia taking a 14th round already, getting themselves so close to taking the 2-0 here in the lower bracket final. And of course, with that, they will eliminate Complexity. I mean, it's not over yet, but it's certainly getting close to that point. Right now, all the frags being cleaned up as well. Ricky gets one. He does, of course, want to try and save her over that AUG, ideally. As we do actually end up seeing 3 players surviving from either side. I mean, Ricky saving over the AUG is decent, considering he will actually be able to, because of that, drop a weapon and get himself a bit of extra utility. He could actually give over an op, which they wouldn't have otherwise, but he decides against it. Ends up actually not dropping a weapon, which is kind of surprising, because, I mean, at this point, they want the best buy possible, because they need to pick this round up. If they don't, then Furia are on map, and serious point, Complexity down on the brink of elimination, but I don't know. I'm not the professional here. Irish CS isn't known for being too great, you know. But there we go. Sick with some damage being exchanged against Yuri early on. They both bring each other down to very low HP. I mean, technically, Sick does slightly win out the battle by dropping Yuri to 10, considering he is 11. But I mean, it's the exact same. Both players going to be finished off in one bullet. But right now, Furia preparing for an execute over towards this A bomb site, and I don't actually think it's going to even be the execute. I think they threw in a bit of utility at the beginning, but right now they're just creeping forward, playing off at a contact. You can see Sick on the steps, of course, low HP. Shazam in towards the CT spawn. They're going to be the main 2 players that have to try and hold this down. And will they be successful? Sick peeks up the steps, actually does a bit of damage onto Caserato. But do they know that there's already a player in Sandwich? They do now. Shazam actually been able to spot that shoulder pushing forward. Vinny in a bit of trouble right now, as indeed he does end up actually getting taken down. Caught with a flash in his hands. Art going to go ahead and quickly trade it back on Shazam. And of course, in the meantime, Caserato had actually been able to take one as well. So it is now the man advantage again being put in favor of Furia. The bomb should be getting planted. I mean, Ricky actually maybe could put a stop to it from that CT spawn, but unfortunately, as the bomb isn't going to be planted for that position. Instead, for Connector and Short, a position that Yuri can try and play time on the bomb. It puts Furia in a good spot now to try and take themselves map and series point. Although Stanislaw, he's going to have a free kill. Spotted Yuri creeping backwards to him, just giving up the booty. And of course, I didn't mean Stanislaw's a pirate. I wasn't that kind of booty. There we go, moving forward. Stanislaw and Def no longer moving forward. Quickly was I shut up as they fall away and look to save to at least have some weapons in this final, well, potentially final round. Yeah, but the issue is now, of course, Complexity needs 7 in a row just to take it to overtime. And not only do they need to bring it back and get the win here on Mirage, they then need to take it to map 3 and get the victory there as well. I mean, that is a long road ahead of them. Well, actually, is the average height internationally? I actually don't know. And I don't know in centimeters either. Although, of course, Ireland uses the metric system. For some reason, we still like say height in feet. Like, I'd say I'm like 6'4". I think it's like, that's like 190 something in centimeters, but I'm not 100% sure. Lag in our audio issue? Was there an audio issue, guys? I don't think so. I didn't see too many complaints. I think I saw one. That was it. So that might have been on your end, maybe. If anything happens again, do let me know, though. I have kind of a few people that I've seen watching the entire time that I know I can trust with telling me those things because, you know, Twitch chat, they like to troll. But yeah, Def getting aggressive in towards ramp right now. Complexity saving those 2 weapons. They bring out a pretty decent buy. And 1-for-1 trade, I mean, it does tend to favor the T side, but it certainly could have been worse for Complexity as well. But look at this Shazam on the angle. A pretty much free frag being found as Yuri creeps forward up through Connector. So it will actually be Complexity managing to take a man advantage with that 4-on-3 going in their direction. So a decent start, maybe a lifeline for Complexity to be found, but as I said, it's 7 rounds ahead of them that they have to take. It's going to have to be flawless from this point forward. No room for any mistakes to be made. And I mean, in this round, that is at least looking to be the case. Shazam just continues to frag with this up. He's been one of the more impactful players for Complexity. He had that massive clutch back on the T side with the 1-on-3. But of course, on Mirage, FURIA have certainly just been looking like the overall better side. But not in this round. So there we go. Sick closes it out. 9-15. 6 more to go. I mean, there will be a buy again probably coming out in this round for FURIA, even though Vinny can't fully invest. But he does actually manage to get the Mach 10, so I mean it's a decent buy from FURIA. Thing is though, if Complexity actually end up taking this one, then at that point FURIA would be probably looking at an eco, and it'd give a real opportunity for Complexity to close in that gap. But is that going to be the case? Who knows, because Shazam actually taken down within seconds of the round beginning. Yuri creeping around that short smoke, pushing straight forward of it, no fear in his eyes of course at that point. As Caserato also should actually be able to shut down this B aggression. This is unraveling quickly for Complexity, as it's becoming much more difficult, much more complex for them, I guess, to try and actually recover this round as their numbers continue to diminish, as do their chances. Ricky dropped low HP in the apartments, hasn't even been seen, as it was just the spam coming through. Of course, a 5-on-3 for FURIA. As long as they stick together, hit a bomb site together, and trade successfully, they should be taking this victory right now. Oh, but there we go. Def actually able to get one quickly. That is a bit of a recovery up close on the ramp, actually, with Sick as well. So they're in a position to try and work off of each other. That seems to have actually put a little bit of doubt in the mind of FURIA. They've slowed this down for the moment. Sick getting aggressive, though. That could be a decision, rather, that he does regret. Messing up my words a little bit. Again, guys, it's after 4 AM. Apologies. But I mean, it looks like I may be getting an early enough night. Early considering I was expecting to be going a little bit longer than 4 in the morning, because I honestly thought that it would probably go to about 5 or 6. But Ricky, who knows? Maybe he can make it last a little bit longer, but it's going to have to be a 1v4. He's got the first frag at least, but with 3 more to go and the bomb already ticking away, I don't fancy his chances. Not at all. I mean, he's looking for this opening frag on short onto Caserato, who's really just being a bit of a nuisance right now. That is the main goal. He's running the time down on the bomb, as at this point, it's just not going to happen. Ricky gets dropped. That is going to be 16-9 for FURIA here.